What's up, everyone? It's Justin. I'm here today to talk about earthworms in Southwest Florida. So I'm gonna get right into it. My plan was to go out and catch some. I was gonna get some different species so I could show you guys. Unfortunately, that did not work. I went out when it was raining, couldn't find any. I even tried making a whole worm call and doing the vibrations. Also did not work. Not too bad, it happens, but I'm just gonna go through kind of some of the facts about them. I might be glancing over just because I have my notes over here for pronunciation. Yeah, so I guess we'll get into it. So there's 3 different species that live down here in Southwest Florida. I'm not going to pronounce them because I really can't, but I'm going to put them on the screen for you guys. They're also much easier known as jumping worms, and there's 2 other tropical earthworms as well. So they've made their way into Florida's moist soils from anywhere from garden beds to sawgrass wetlands. They're kind of all over, and they're a little invasive, so we're going to get into that as we go on. So at first glance, they don't look too different from your average earthworm. They have smooth, glossy bodies and a pale ring clitellum that signals maturity. But there is a giveaway. When disturbed, these worms they don't act like a regular worm you would expect, but they actually thrash, coil, and jump violently, almost like snakes. That's how they get their common name, the jumping worms. I'm not really sure how they developed like that, but I assume it's probably a defense to act like a snake to deter predators, I assume. So they're unfortunately invasive down here, and they're invasive because, they're invasive because they're here and there's too many and they shouldn't be here, but the real reasons why they're actually invasive here rather than just a species that lives here now, they strip away leaf litter, they alter the soil structure, reduce biodiversity, and they also spread like crazy, like wildfire. So why are they such a big deal? After all, they're supposed to be good for the soil, right? The problem is that the Everglades in many parts of Florida evolved without these worms, but when the tropical invaders arrived, they sped up decomposition far beyond natural levels. So that was the really big thing, is that the Everglades and everything here grew and evolved on its own system, and now we tossed in all these different worms that not only breed quite crazily, pretty fast, pretty rapid, but they also speed up decomposition because they are decomposers, they're detrivores. We'll get into that as well. But they rapidly sped up decomposition down here. They consume leaf litter so quickly that the forest floor will get stripped bare down here. And without that protective layer that protects the soil and everything from the humidity, the sun, from all the elements, the soil dries out faster. Seedlings struggle to grow without the moisture that they need, and nutrient cycles get thrown off balance. They are castings, which are the little piles of soil that they digest and leave behind, kind of like their poop. Aren't like typical worm castings either. They look like loose coffee grounds, and they're completely changed the soil structure, which makes it unstable, more prone to erosion, and less able to support the microbes and insects that native ecosystems rely on. Pretty big deal, pretty upsetting for most plants trying to get started out here. It's pretty tough life out here. But so how do they reproduce? How are they reproducing so fast? How are they spreading so quick? They actually reproduce through parthenogenesis. I'll put that word up here too. It's also another big word. But that means they don't really need a mate at all. They can do it completely on their own. So on top of that, jumping worms reproduce incredibly fast. Many of the Amythrus species use parthenogenesis, which means the females can produce offspring without a mate, which allows their populations to explode under the right conditions. One season of unchecked growth, they can take over entire patches of forest or wetlands. In the food web, they not only feed on decaying plants, but they are eaten also by birds, reptiles, amphibians, small mammals. Pretty much anything eats worms. Fish as well, if you're using them for bait. And so the impacts ripple up the food web. These worms feed on all the decaying plant matter, and in turn they become food for the birds like the ibises and herons that we see every day, as well as the amphibians, reptiles, and small mammals. But the loss of soil diversity and microhabitats puts pressure on the rest of the ecosystem, especially the species that depend on the natural layers of leaf litter. They're the ones that are really taking the toll with this. So in short, jumping worms may seem small, but their presence is a big ecological disturbance down here in Southwest Florida. They alter soils, outcompete native invertebrates, and reshape habitats across the Everglades. So next time you see soil that looks like coffee grounds, or worms that thrash wildly when disturbed, you may be looking at one of these invasive species that call this area home. I'm also gonna put up pictures of all the 3 different species, if that's a little bit easier. I was really hoping to get some live, but I unfortunately couldn't do that. for this video, but hopefully on the next one, I'll have something a little bit more exciting to look at. I guess that's it for now. If you guys have any more questions, leave them down below. I'll be happy to answer them. Yeah, that's about all. I hope you guys enjoyed. Catch ya.